What I think made this movie so interesting is that the characters were very relatable, all of them, and they were all good people going through some bad situations. What attracted you to your character, Derek?
Um, there was a sadness there that, and just a little bit backstory. I did a show a couple of years ago called Generation Kill about a platoon of recon Marines during the first 5 weeks of the invasion in Iraq in '03. So I got to know a lot of Marines when we shot that show, and it really made me realize how difficult it is for them coming home, how difficult it is to, like Derek says in the film, suddenly he's a paper-pushing grunt, and the contrast, how different that life is from when he was in Afghanistan or Iraq, and really, in a weird way, felt alive because he was so close to death. And it's in those moments that you really feel alive. And he's also a very proud man, so he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to say that this is difficult for me. I think I'm having a PTSD. So instead, he just, it's kind of lit on, just work hard, keep going. But he's drifting, he's got Cindy, this amazing woman, as a wife, and he can't talk to her, he can't communicate with her, he can't even talk to her about how he feels. So there was something really sad and beautiful about that when I read the script, about this couple, that there's so much love there and they belong together, but they can't really talk to each other. So instead, he's online playing poker, and she's in chat rooms talking about her issues because her husband won't talk to her. So it's not until they get, we have this identity theft happen to them halfway through the film where they lose everything. They didn't have a lot, but whatever they had, they lost. And in a way, it's a blessing in disguise for them, because then Derek is like, oh, I have a mission now for the first time since I was overseas. Like, I got something to do now. This is reconnaissance. I'm going to track this guy down. And I think Cindy can see something in his eyes for the first time. And so when they're in that car, they finally connect and they look at each other. They really see each other for the first time in many years.
Mm-hmm. You brought a lot of depth and emotion to that role. And it was really nice to see the evolution. And I think having that soldier background, you could kind of see it because you went from the victim to, the aggressor at the end, and you kind of took control of that. So this was obviously a very powerful film. What was it like working with Ruben, the director?
I mean, he's so wonderful. He's so... he's one of my best friends now, so I got so much love for him. It was, when I read the script, I was blown away by how well written it was, and I was so excited about the character, about Derek, and I felt that in a way that it was kind of an extension of Generation Kill, and this just could have been one of those guys from First Reconnaissance. This could have been him 6, 7 years later, or 10 years later. So it felt important, and it felt like a story that I really wanted to tell. But I'd seen Murder Ball. I thought it was a brilliant documentary, but it was a documentary. Mm-hmm. And a lot of great documentary filmmakers, can't direct actors. So I didn't really know. But I met with Henry. I was in New York shooting What Maisie Knew at the time, and he lived right next door to my hotel, so he came over, and we just sat for hours and talked about Derek and their relationship and just his passion and his intelligence. I was never worried. I wasn't like, oh, how is he going to be with actors? I just felt like this is a guy that I want to work with.